They were built in another time when machines had souls. 60 years later, they're still alive.
In 1948, America witnessed the birth of a legend, a small box-shaped machine that refused to die. It was called the Willys Jeep CJ2A, and it was not just built from steel, it was built from courage. Born in the ashes of war, this humble Jeep carried soldiers home, then carried a nation forward. It plowed the fields, climbed the mountains, crossed rivers, and outlived every storm. Where modern machines rust and break, this one still wakes up every morning, coughing, shaking, and then roaring to life like an old soldier remembering his duty. Every scratch on its body tells a story. Every dent is a memory of someone who refused to give up. And even today, more than 70 years later, when you see one still running, it feels like you are watching time itself refuse to stop. Because this was not just a vehicle, it was America's heartbeat cast in iron. Built by hands that believed in forever, and proof that some machines are simply too proud to die. Number 7. 1948. Willys Jeep CJ2A, the farmhand that never rested. In 1948, America was still learning how to live in peace. The war had ended, soldiers had come home, and factories that once built tanks and trucks for battle were searching for a new purpose. Out of that transformation rolled a machine that did not just carry people, it carried a nation rebuilding itself. It was called the Willys Jeep CJ2A, and it was unlike anything else on the road. It was small, boxy, and simple. But inside that simplicity lived something powerful, the spirit of a returning soldier dressed in civilian clothes. The Jeep had proven itself in war, climbing mountains, crossing deserts, and surviving conditions that would destroy ordinary vehicles. When peace arrived, America needed that same toughness to rebuild its farms, roads, and communities. And the Willys Jeep answered the call. Farmers used it to plow their fields, builders used it to carry wood and stone, hunters trusted it deep in the forests, and families used it to explore lands where no road dared to go. Its flathead four-cylinder engine, humble but unbreakable, could run all day with the sound of quiet determination. There were no fancy switches or automatic gears. Everything was manual, mechanical, and meant to last. You could feel every turn of the wheel, every pulse of the engine, like the heartbeat of something alive. The CJ2A did not care about luxury or speed. It was born to work and to keep working long after others had stopped. Even decades later, in small towns and remote farms, you can still find one resting in a barn. A bit of fresh gas, a spark, and that old engine coughs, shakes, and then roars back to life, ready to serve again. The paint may have faded, the seats may have cracked, but its soul remains untouched. This Jeep became more than a vehicle, it became part of the American story. It represented endurance, loyalty, and the belief that strength does not need polish, only purpose. It was the bridge between wartime courage and peacetime progress. Every scratch told a story of survival, and every dent was a medal of honor earned through work, not war. Even today, the Willys Jeep CJ2A stands as a symbol of what America once built. Not machines for convenience, but companions for life. It taught a generation that simplicity is not weakness, and that true durability comes from purpose, not perfection. As the years moved forward, and as America rebuilt its land, another kind of legend began to take shape, not on the battlefield, and not on the farm, but on the open road. A new machine was coming, built with the same honesty and grit, but shaped for the working man's pride, because by 1969, America was ready for a new kind of strength, forged in the heart of every small town, carried on the back of a truck that never quit. The Ford F-100. Number 6. 1969. Ford F-100, the heartbeat of small-town America. In 1969, when America was dreaming of the moon and racing toward the future, one machine kept its wheels firmly on the ground. It was called the Ford F-100, and it became the heartbeat of small-town America. It was not made to show off, it was made to serve, honest, strong, and proud. At that time, life in America was simple, but hard-working. Towns were built by hands that knew the meaning of effort, and every morning, before the sun rose, engines like the Ford F-100 came to life. You could hear their deep rumble echo across quiet farms and dirt roads, a familiar sound that meant another day of work had begun. The Ford F-100 was not built for comfort or luxury, it was built for loyalty. Its body was made of thick steel, its frame was strong enough to carry the weight of almost anything, wood, tools, hay, or even a family moving to a better life. Under the hood lived an engine that refused to give up, a straight six-cylinder or a big V8 that could run for decades with nothing more than care and clean oil. There were no complicated buttons or fragile systems. Everything was simple, honest, and made to last. For many families, the F-100 was more than a truck. It was a member of the family. It was passed down from father to son, each adding their own marks, their own stories. It hauled dreams, carried memories, and witnessed generations grow. The smell of gasoline mixed with dust and sweat became a part of life, and when it broke down, it was never abandoned. It was fixed, because something that loyal did not deserve to be replaced. In small towns, the Ford F-100 was everywhere, parked outside diners, lined up at county fairs, hauling trailers down the highway. It represented the people who drove it, dependable, modest, and strong. Even today, more than 50 years later, you can still find them running. Some are shiny and restored, others are rusty and tired, but they all still start. Their doors still shut with that heavy, perfect sound. Their engines still hum with pride. The Ford F-100 was never just a machine. It was a promise, a reminder that true strength comes from reliability, not speed. It taught America that being tough did not mean being complicated. It meant showing up every day, no matter the weather, no matter the road. And as the 1960s came to an end, America was ready for something different. The same country that built strong trucks now wanted a car that could move not just the body, but the heart, something faster, brighter, and full of hope. Because before the muscle car wars began, before chrome became king, one car had already proven that America could dream in motion: the 1957 Chevrolet Corvette. Number 5. 1957 Chevrolet Corvette, the American dream in motion. In 1957, America was changing fast. The war was over, the economy was strong, and people were dreaming bigger than ever. The highways stretched farther, the skies seemed brighter, and for the first time freedom could be felt on four wheels. Out of this new spirit came a car that looked like it was built not for roads but for dreams. It was the Chevrolet Corvette, the car that made America believe it could build beauty and speed in one heartbeat. The first Corvettes were different from everything before them. Their long, sweeping hoods, shiny chrome, and perfect curves made them look like they were sculpted by wind. Under that fiberglass body lived a heart that beat stronger than most, a V8 engine that could roar with pure confidence. The Corvette was not just a car, it was a symbol of what the American dream looked like when it had wheels. Owning one was more than pride, it was emotion. It said something about who you were. It said you believed in freedom, in movement, in chasing horizons. It said you loved the sound of an engine that spoke louder than words. And when you sat behind that wheel, with your hand on the gear stick and the open road ahead, it felt like time stopped. Just you, the sky, and the road that seemed to go on forever. But what truly made the 1957 Corvette special was not only its beauty, it was its endurance. Many of these cars still run today, some lovingly restored, some wearing their scars proudly. Their engines still growl like lions, their paint still catches the sun, and their stories still turn heads. They remind people that style fades, but soul never dies. Every generation of Corvette that followed carried a piece of this first legend: the courage to be bold, the confidence to go fast, and the heart to last forever. It became more than a car line, it became a living tradition. Mechanics, racers, and dreamers all found something personal in it. For some, it was their first car. For others, it was their lifelong goal. And for all, it was a reminder that America could build something the world would never forget. The 1957 Corvette was the sound of jazz on a summer night, the shine of chrome under the sun, the promise of a new age. It was proof that speed and beauty could exist together, not to show off, but to inspire. And as America's roads filled with the rumble of Corvettes, another legend was quietly waiting to make its mark, not on the racetrack, but in the daily lives of millions. A car that stood for reliability, simplicity, and strength. Because after the dreamers came the doers, and they drove the 1965 Ford Mustang. Number 4. 1965 Ford Mustang. The car that started a revolution. In 1965, something incredible happened in America. A car rolled out of Detroit that changed everything people thought a car could be. It was fast, beautiful, affordable, and full of attitude. Its name was the Ford Mustang, and it became more than just a car, it became a movement. When the first Mustang was shown to the world, people could not believe their eyes. The lines were sharp, the stance was powerful, and it carried the spirit of freedom that every driver dreamed of. It was not meant only for the rich or the racers. It was made for everyone who had a dream and a key in their hand. Ford called it a pony car, but what it really did was give ordinary Americans the chance to feel extraordinary. On April 17, 1964, the Mustang made its public debut at the New York World's Fair. Within days, showrooms across the country were flooded with people wanting one. Ford expected to sell 100,000 in the first year. They sold over 400,000. It was not just success, it was a cultural explosion. Under the hood, the Mustang offered power and choice, from a calm six-cylinder to a roaring V8 that could take your breath away. Its sound became the heartbeat of a new generation. The car spoke to everyone, young people who wanted excitement, families who wanted something stylish, and soldiers returning home who wanted to live fast and free again. But what made the 1965 Mustang truly special was its soul. It was simple enough to repair, tough enough to survive, and strong enough to keep running decade after decade. Even today, many of these Mustangs are still on the road, their chrome shining under the sun, their engines still echoing that same freedom. Every time one passes by, it turns heads, not because it is old, but because it reminds people of what America once stood for: courage, creativity, and endless possibility. The Mustang became the car of movies, songs, and memories. It symbolized rebellion and youth, but also hope. It was the car that said you do not need to be rich to feel alive. You just need a dream and the will to chase it. And while the Mustang ruled the highways, another legend was quietly proving that strength could also mean humility. A car that did not roar for attention, but earned respect through endurance and honesty. It was not flashy or loud, but it outlasted almost everything around it. Number 3, 1966, Chevrolet C10 pickup, the workhorse that never quit. By 1966, America's roads were filled with excitement, fast Mustangs, roaring Corvettes, and sleek muscle cars. But behind all the noise, one quiet hero kept the country moving. It did not race for trophies or shine in parades. It worked, every single day. It was the Chevrolet C10 pickup, the workhorse that never quit. This truck was built with one purpose: to serve. Farmers trusted it, builders depended on it, families relied on it. Its steel body was thick, its frame was strong, and its heart, a reliable straight six or a sturdy small block V8, beat with honesty. There was nothing complicated about it. No electronics, no luxury, no weakness, just pure American strength, built to take a beating and come back for more. When you turned the key, the C10 did not just start, it came alive with a low, confident growl. It was the kind of sound that reminded you of your father's hands covered in grease, of early mornings and long drives to town, of hard work and quiet pride. The bench seat might have been rough, the ride a little bumpy, but the feeling was real. You were in something built to last. People often say cars have personalities. The C10 had character. It did not need chrome or fancy badges. Its scars told its story. Each dent was a memory, a job done, a load carried, a day survived. In small towns across America, it became more than transportation. It became tradition. Sons learned to drive in their father's C10s. Some still use the same trucks today. More than 50 years later, engines rebuilt, paint faded, but spirit untouched. Chevrolet designed it with simplicity in mind. Parts were easy to fix, and everything was made to be repaired, not replaced. That's why so many still run today. You can find them hauling hay, towing boats, or cruising through classic car shows, proof that toughness never goes out of style. The 1966 C10 was a reminder that not every hero wears chrome. Some wear rust and dust, and still stand proud. It was built during a time when America believed in making things that could last a lifetime, and it has kept that promise. Even today, when you see one parked by an old barn or rolling down a quiet back road, it makes you stop and look, because you know what you are seeing, not just a truck, but a story of hard work, loyalty, and endurance. And while the C10 carried America's weight, another machine was preparing to carry its dreams, one that turned the idea of forever into motion, powered by luxury, loyalty, and sheer willpower. Number 2, 1971, Mercedes-Benz 300D W114, the car that outlived generations. In 1971, while American highways echoed with the roar of V8 engines, a quieter legend was being born in Germany. the Mercedes-Benz 300D, also known as the W114. It didn't try to impress with speed or flash. Instead, it was built for something far greater: to endure. When most cars were designed to last 10 years, Mercedes engineers aimed for eternity. Every detail, from the solid steel panels to the hand-polished interior wood, was built with precision and care. The 300D's diesel engine wasn't fast, but it was relentless. It started in freezing winters, ran through scorching deserts, and did both with the calm confidence of a machine that never needed rest. People called it unbreakable. Taxi drivers across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe trusted it to run over 1,000,000 miles, and many did. Then, after decades of service, these cars kept moving, their odometers long stuck at their limits. Each thunk of a Mercedes door sounded like a promise. Strong, heavy, and certain. Inside, the car was elegant in the simplest way. Real wood trim, firm seats, switches that still work after half a century. Every inch was made to last. You could drive it for decades, pass it down to your children, and it would still start the next morning like it was new. But the 300D wasn't just a car. It was a philosophy. Proof that real strength isn't loud. It's quiet, dependable, and timeless. While other cars chased style or fame, this one built its legend mile by mile, year after year. Even today, when you spot one gliding down the road, paint faded, chrome worn, it still carries itself with dignity. It's not just surviving, it's reminding the world what true craftsmanship looks like. For many families, these cars were part of life's memories, carrying children home from hospitals, graduates to college, and loved ones to every corner of the world. They didn't just last, they lived. And when they finally grew old, they were never forgotten, only rebuilt, restored, and loved again. The 1971 Mercedes-Benz 300D proved that endurance is beauty. It wasn't built to race time, it was built to outlast it. And while Germany mastered the art of longevity, Japan was quietly preparing to redefine it through a humble little car that would prove simplicity itself could be eternal. Number 1. 1972 Toyota Corolla, the little engine that refused to stop. In 1972, while American car makers were building bigger, louder machines, a small and humble car quietly arrived from Japan, light, simple, and honest. It was called the Toyota Corolla, and no one imagined it would one day become one of the most trusted cars in the world. The Corolla was never built to impress, it was built to last. It did not roar or shine, it simply started every morning, rain or shine, and got the job done. Its small four-cylinder engine ran with a calm rhythm, gentle on fuel and smooth on the road. It asked for almost nothing, yet gave everything: reliability, peace of mind, and quiet strength. At first, Americans looked at it with doubt. They were used to long hoods, big V8 engines, and heavy chrome. But when the Corolla proved it could go hundreds of thousands of miles without complaint, doubt turned into trust. Families began to depend on it. Students made it their first car, and soon the Corolla became part of daily American life, steady, faithful, and always ready. Its secret was simplicity. No complicated systems, no delicate parts, just perfect engineering done with care. It could run on rough roads in cold mornings and through long summers, asking only for a little oil and attention. Mechanics loved how easy it was to fix. Owners loved how rarely it needed fixing. Even after 50 years, many of these Corollas still live on, paint faded, seats worn, but hearts still beating. They cross deserts, climb mountains, and roll through towns across the world, proving that quality never dies. The 1972 Toyota Corolla taught us that true strength is not about size or speed, it is about staying strong when everything else fades. It may not have been the loudest car on the road, but it became the most loyal. It was more than transportation, it was a promise in steel. A small car that carried big dreams, built by hands that believed in honesty, precision, and forever. Some cars weren't built for fame, they were built forever. From the 1948 Willys Jeep to the 1972 Toyota Corolla, these 7 machines refused to die. They worked, endured, and became living history. Each still runs today, carrying the spirit of strength, loyalty, and timeless American craftsmanship. Forever isn't a dream, it's a design.